Hey gang, Chris Maholka here. Coming up on my page, you're going to start seeing videos on color mixing theory and also how to thin paints and mix for airbrushing things like fishing lures. Now this is going to be basically a how to use inexpensive acrylics used for standard canvas art through your airbrush. And I decided before I should start publishing those, I probably should show you the thinner recipe that I use to thin those paints down so you can get them through your airbrush. A few simple items here, let's walk through it. This is a quick video on how to mix my thinner formula. So here are the things you're going to need. Alcohol, basically denatured alcohol. This can be purchased anywhere. Basically they sell paints, hardware stores, and that type of places. Distilled water, and this is water that's been distilled through a steam process where the water is boiled off and left the nasty chemicals and things that might be in your local water supply in the distilling process. So this is water that won't have chemicals, minerals, and things that when it dries on your airbrush surface and won't leave little deposits of scum that would create problems with the airbrush. And this can be purchased at a grocery store. And then glycerin, which comes from your favorite craft store. It's used in soap making, lip balms, that kind of thing. These three items are what we're going to use to make up our thinner. As far as the mixing goes, you'll need a container that's well labeled with acrylic thinner so nobody mistakes what this is once you've mixed it. You need a funnel to make sure everything that you're mixing gets into the container. Some kind of a measuring graduate that shows 250 milliliters and 100 milliliters, and an 1/8 of a teaspoon measurer. Then also glasses, and the glasses are important because you don't want any of this stuff splashing in your eyes. So these are protection for your eyes while you're mixing, and are always a good idea when you're working with any chemical. Since I mix a lot of this stuff, I keep a larger container to do my mixing in because I'll mix it in larger batches. And then after it's mixed, I'll transfer it into a smaller container to actually thin paints with. But we're going to start with this because these containers are easy to come by usually. Put our funnel in. The very first thing we're going to do is put in our 250 milliliters of water. This is the distilled water, and you can see on my graduate I've marked 100 and 250, and I use this for mixing this formula so it's easy for me to see when I've got just the right amount in. So we're going to start with our 250 milliliters of distilled water. That's going to go in first. There's a reason for the mixing order on this. If you put the glycerin in the container first, it can go right to the bottom of the container and just be a lump until you can get it mixed well. So by putting the water in, now when we put in our 1/8 of a teaspoon of glycerin, it's not going to go right to the bottom. It's going to be suspended in the water, and we're going to go with a level 1/8 of a teaspoon of glycerin. The easiest thing to do is just let that hang in there. That way all the glycerin will run off onto the end of the water. Next comes the alcohol. We're going to add 100 milliliters, and I'm just going to pour until it comes up to my 100 milliliter mark. Like that. And I always put the caps back on things when I'm mixing, otherwise I'm going to knock something over and spill it, so it's always good practice to do that. Now we're going to take our alcohol and we're going to use it to rinse off this teaspoon that we measured our glycerin with. Just pour it over the teaspoon, let the alcohol rinse the rest of the glycerin into the water or into the mix. Once that's done, all we need to do is mix really well. And this is one of the things that with the alcohol and the water and the glycerin could form different stratas in it, so every time you use this, you make sure you shake it well, make sure it's thoroughly combined. It'll give your paint a really smooth, nice consistency, and it will go through your airbrush easier. So there's my formula. Now on to the videos on paint theory and color theory and how to use them in an airbrush. Thanks for watching.